Great to have you with us. In our first story, the Joy Clean Ghana campaign got back on the trail this week after a long break, with their first culprit being a man found attending nature's call at the Jamestown beach. Not even the presence of the AMA officials and JoyNews cameras would have him terminate his session. He was subsequently arrested. Now, Nancy Emefa Jodosi, who went along with the task force, reports the Salenko Beach Resort and public toilets in the community were also found to be discharging their effluents directly into the sea.
When you see right here on my left, those materials there are anal cleansing materials. There's a public toilet just up there. And when the people visit the loo and then they clean their anal, instead of them having an area to burn it or to make good, to dispose of it sanitarily, they just pour it here. Yeah, not only that one, you can see they are burning. Over there is a fishmongering community, and that is where they also pour their refuse. So it's illegal to do open burning. Then turn your back. You see, it is also happening the same thing. So all over this little small enclave we are standing, there are a lot of nuisances going on. So that is why we are here today.
Immediately after the Director of Public Health at the AMA, Florence Kuchi, told the team what the agenda was for the day, this man in his mid-20s was spotted squatting by the beach, busily defecating.
The person is practicing open defecation just by the sea. Meanwhile, recently, the Minister for Zongo Development was here to commission about 150 toilet facilities that have been done for the public, for them free of charge. They have all these facilities within them, and they are still practicing open defecation. You can just imagine, even we are coming, but this guy did not even feel shy. He was still sitting there doing his own thing.
He refused to own up when he was questioned initially.
I'm just squatting small.
Huh?
I'm just squatting small.
Squatting small. What is squatting small? Are you defecating?
You said?
Are you defecating? Are you shitting?
No, yes, I'm shitting small.
You are shitting.
Are you aware that it's not allowed to shit here?
Yeah, it's squatting small.
It's squatting small. Okay, so you are under arrest.
Okay.
Shortly after, the team spotted some discharge from a drain connected to a public toilet being channeled into the sea. At the public toilet, the manager of the facility, Madam Sophia, happily conducted the team around until she was asked about the discharge.
Madam, my septic tank was here. If I am a toilet, no. Septic tank, no. This is where, you are telling me this is where the sack, this is the septic tank that the septic, and when they come, they draw from. But, close it.
She pleaded to call her son when Madam Kuchi ordered the place to be shut down.
My toilet, no. My connecting my toilet no straight into the sea no more. Inti ubet me ama yanko from na menko chire. Inti yanko.
You want to see pipe?
Madam, yanko.
Ni
even nandi.
the water. How
It's no.
Everybody
Call everybody in the toilet to come out.
we know yo.
No, she is aware. She's telling her the raw excreta is not going, but it is the water from the toilet that is going, which is the effluent. And that is why we are telling her the effluent is the toilet. So since she is aware, we are closing down the toilet for them to do the right thing. They did it intentionally. So the short.
Madam Sophia's son later arrived to explain the source of the discharge.
I'll say it here before you go.
No, when we are, you
No. Let me explain everything
Okay,
to you.
explain.
I say we have 3 chambers.
Yes,
here.
I understand.
One is here, one is at the other side.
Yes.
This is the main chamber.
Yes.
That's right.
And this place, when the influence have to be empty,
Dislodged.
this is where we do it.
Okay.
So let me give you pictures of evidence.
I'm not saying you are lying. You
No.
don't have to listen.
No.
Listen.
It's like what I'm saying. You're not
Listen.
listening to me.
Listen. I understood perfectly that you have 3 chambers, and then when you want to dislodge, this is where you dislodge from. But I'm telling you, let's go down for you to see the evidence for yourself.
But the explanations were found to be unconvincing.
Over there, and the water that is dripping down is from the bathroom. But I am telling him that it is not from the bathroom. You can see the color of the water dripping down. As we are standing here, nobody is in the bathroom bathing. But the water is dripping. It is coming straight from their septic tank. And when you watch here, you can see the raw excreta. This is raw feces flowing down through into the sea.
Not too far from the public toilet was the Salinko Beach Resort, which appeared quite presentable until the task force was introduced to the septic tank.
So when the flood, when does it start?
This is the pipe.
Still on the subject, Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Cecilia Abena-Dapaah says the dream to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa is still alive. Speaking on the Super Morning Show a while ago, Madam Dapaah said government is tackling all angles of water hygiene and sanitation to achieve the goal. She has been outlining some projects being undertaken now.
I know, and I repeat, that cleanliness is not about getting new clothes, new structures every day. It's about cleaning what you have, making what you have clean. If we have a clean environment, nobody will dare throw out anything. If you get the full speech that he made, this policy of one house, one bin is there. And we in the ministry, we have also added one business, one bin.
Yeah.
To make sure that people do not litter. When people see the town devoid of the plastic waste, devoid of maybe a bit of solid waste, you will see the clean environment. Also, you have people who burn plastics or refuse. All these things also add to the insanitary conditions.
So those are some great details that we definitely want to delve into.
Yes.
But if we can just get this clarification. So the president speaking in 2017 said by the end of my 4-year term,
Yes.
that is December this year.
Yes.
So December this year, will Accra be the cleanest city in Africa?
I hope it will be, and I know it can be. I'm not running away from the fact that all the players, like I said, you said the task force was a bit too late in the day. No.
I was asking a question.
Exactly.
I was asking if it wasn't
It's
too
not.
late in the day.
It's not. All players are on board. All players. And like I said, it's not rocket science. It's rather un-Ghanaian to have insanitary conditions in this country. I know, and I have found out, that, for instance, we have a challenge with our gutters. I've gone further to find out that by day, as we say in Ghanaian parlance, someone can charge you 40 Ghana cedis to work. Yes. So I've asked them to measure the length of the gutters so that we know the cost involved.
Okay.
And these are all things that are being done.
So if you have not reached the target by December,
Yes.
would you resign?
Which target is that?
Cleanest city in Africa
Yes.
by December. Would you
Yes,
resign?
according to December,
Yeah, I mean December
Election time.
2020.
election time.
I'm saying, but
I think
as a matter of principle.
The question presupposes that you are expecting me to resign.
No, I am
I
asking.
know it will not come to that.
Okay. So it will not come to
That.
your meeting the target. I'm simply asking.
It will not come to what you are expecting me to do.
Oh, it's not an
But
expectation.
we think the vision can be and will be executed.
Away from sanitation, the Ghana National Fire Service is yet to conclude investigations into the fire incident at Accra Academy 2 weeks ago. That's according to the Public Relations Officer of the service, Ellis Robinson Oko. That incident left some 41 students stranded when their dormitory was gutted by fire around prep time. In the wake of a similar fire incident Tuesday night, JoyNews sought to find out if the causes of the fire had been ascertained. But the fire service says it is yet to conclude investigations into the first incident. He spoke on News Desk.
The first one was an adjoining building to the current place at the fire outbreak. And I don't want to do any guesswork. There's going to be forensic investigation to come out to the cause of the fire.
Okay, so if the first building caught fire, then the adjoining building catches fire. The question on my mind is, are our children safe?
As I speak to you now, they are safe.
Okay, but
Because
after the
the
first
area
fire,
has
would
been
you have
flooded.
said the same thing as well?
Pardon me?
After the first fire, if I had asked you if they were safe, would you have said the same thing as well?
After the first fire, we couldn't, the whole building, including where the fire caught. You understand me?
Okay.
But I understand that the school authorities did their own arrangements by allowing some of the students to keep some of their belongings at where the fire didn't get to the previous time.
Okay.
So
have you done a fire audit, a fire safety audit of the school?
I don't have the records here. When we do our investigation, all that is going to come out whether we have done one there or not.
Okay. Would you be able to tell us?
Our men are on the ground giving some orientation to the students. What to do.
Would you be able to tell us if at least they have fire extinguishers, the bare minimum?
Definitely. Yesterday I went on, I saw some few extinguishers around. What happened is that the fire occurred at the blind side of them because nobody was there. They had gone for prep. So nobody saw the fire until it escalated.
Now, away from the fire, the Media Coalition Against Galamsey and Occupy Ghana have expressed disappointment by the revelation by the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, that hundreds of seized Galamsey excavators have disappeared from district assemblies across the country. Professor Frimpong Boateng, speaking on the Super Morning Show a few days ago, revealed only a handful of the excavators can be traced. How many excavators have been impounded in total?
In total, right now we have about 140 or so in our custody.
140?
Yes.
After the first year where the then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewo, was going around, in 1 year we had about 500 seized.
No, that was not the case. We were told that 500 had been seized and given to the district assemblies and so on.
Because that was the official figure put out at the time.
But later on, when we went out to check, the number was far lower than that.
What was the number at the time?
I can't tell exactly what, but it was far lower than the 500 that was initially declared. We sent people out there to talk to the district assembly, and we got Vanguard involved, and most of them had disappeared.
Most had disappeared?
Yes.
But the Media Coalition Against Galamsey and Occupy Ghana are displeased with this news. We can now speak with Engineer Ken Ashigbe, who is a member of the coalition. Engineer Ashigbe, thanks for joining us. What's your reaction to this statement made by the minister?
Well, definitely it calls for a lot of, because we cannot just allow excavators to go missing. You know that excavators are not mobile phones that you can just put in your pocket. It's the reason why we're saying that there's a law. The Minerals and Mining Act is very in what should happen. Once you are found with an excavator, you are supposed to be arrested. Once you are arrested, the excavators are supposed to be confiscated and kept with the police. So how come these excavators who found their way to the NMDAs and now the excavators cannot be found? So who took inventory? Who were the officers who were responsible? These officers and these who handled this definitely need to be brought to book. Then also, if they went to court, it would be good to get a report of what happened to them. And once you go to court, you are convicted. These equipment are supposed to be forfeited and then less public by the Minister of Mines. Then also, interestingly, if you look at government's own roadmap to lifting of the ban on artisanal mining, it states specifically that these equipment are supposed to be registered and tracked. So if we were tracking them, then they cannot be lost because we definitely would find them. And, you know, these are not small and little equipment that people can hide. So it is really important that we get to the bottom of this because still applying the laws. Now we've stiffened the punishment. The Minerals and Mining Act has been amended and been stiffened. But if the people who are involved in this know that when they do this, all we will do is talk, but nothing would happen. It is the reason why you have the challenges that occurred at Dollar where some security officers were even killed. Now, if you take in the Western region, the water treatment plant at Abate, the plant is now a colloid. It's no more, a solution. The water is no more water again. The turbidity is so high. The only way we can bring the fight back is to ensure that people who do wrong for excavators that have been seen that are missing. These people should be held accountable, and we should also be seen to be applying our laws as strictly as we can.
Right. Engineer Shigbe, on that point of people who do wrong being held accountable, is it your suspicion that there are some state officials involved, considering the fact that these were seized excavators?
No, definitely. Daniel, whoever sees this excavator would have had to take inventory. He would have had to pass it on to people. So if it was at assemblies, who other assemblies took charge of these things, and how come they cannot be found? These people have to be held accountable. The state officials who were involved in this, who were the people who did not ensure that when these excavators were seized, were taken to the police so that they were kept safe. We need to hold all of these people accountable. We need to demand answers for it. So it's important that the interministerial committee gives us answers for this. And the policy statement came directly from the interministerial committee. They were supposed to be responsible for the tagging, the tracking, the geofencing of all of these excavators.
And even the initial seizure was done. Some of the initial seizure was even done by the then Minister for Land and Natural Resources.
Exactly.
So, Engineer Shigbe, tell us, please, as a coalition, and I see you teaming up with Occupy Ghana here, what action are you going to take?
Well, this is the first step, and the hope is that you, the media, whose coalition this is, will take this up and ask for the answers. Because the good thing is that the Constitution mandates you to hold leadership to account. So this is the first step in issuing, and we are hoping that we will get answers from the interministerial committees today. And once we do that, and we know who are the people who get reports, maybe for all you know, people have been lined up in the court, and we know what the next steps are. But it is important that we signal right, because some of the things we are beginning to see do not bode well for all of us.
Finally, Engineer Ashigbe, it is the view of some, and we've sampled these views from the public, especially on social media, that with the exit of John Peter Amewu from the Ministry of Land and Natural Resources, the fight against Galamsey generally lost a certain verve or impetus. Would you agree?
Well, if you look at the output and what happened, you would want to believe that. But the thing that I'm pleased about now, that we are beginning to see the minister, the new minister for mines. When he came in, he was very quiet, but now we're beginning to see him move into these spaces. He was in a place where for 3 weeks distractions were happening, and we don't know why the drones were not able to capture that. But at least that is some start. And he's promised that he was going to get 2 platoons to get into those places. We hope that continues to happen. I see that he was in the north as well. We need to support that. I've heard the Minister for Development also make had made a few statements, but we need to go beyond the statement. We need to see action being taken. So I'm hoping that this will get to the attention of the President himself, so that he would ask the interministerial committees to find out who were responsible for this, who are the people who are going into these forest reserves, who are destroying the forest reserves, who are the people who are polluting the Western region waters and all of that. So we want to see action beyond this. And most importantly, you, the media, we're hoping that this would also wake you up out of your slumber too and hold these people account like you did in the past, where we saw water turbidity levels improve.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ken Ashigbe. He is with the Media Coalition Against Galamsey. We move to other issues, and the Minority Leader in Parliament, Haruna Issu, is raising concerns about conditions surrounding a $3 billion Eurobond government intends to raise this year. The 2020 budget captured the intention of the government to go to international sources to borrow. According to the budget statement, needed infrastructural developments necessitate the need for the fund. According to him, a case of conflict of interest is imminent as Databank Brokerage, which was founded by the Finance Minister, is one of the book runners for the bond. Mr. Idrisu is worried this is unethical and wants governments to rethink its decision. He spoke to me today on the Super Morning Show.
I am essentially and primarily concerned about President Nana Addo Dankwa and his Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, throwing ethical values to the dogs.
Before we go into the details
of this country, and we are concerned because a common denominator of corruption is conflict of interest. And the Constitution in Article 284 is expressed that public officers, I'm not quoting the exact words, shall eschew conflict of interest positions in their dealings.
Great. Let's take a step back before we go into the details of these allegations that you raise. First of all, government is seeking to make some expenditure. They have come to Parliament and they've come to seek approval for some bonds they want to raise.
Absolutely, yes. Under the 2020 Financial and Government Economic Policy, provision was made to raise $3 billion Euro bond to finance what is described as government priority projects. Even if you look at the beneficiary list, you will be worried that sometimes as a country, we should not be borrowing for purpose of consumption, particularly against the NPP-owned campaign pledge and promise that they would borrow purposefully and they will borrow to grow the economy. Some of the list items, in our view, list might to be desired. But our primary concern is that in the prospectus that have been advertised for the raising of the 3 billion euro bond, the book runners are listed as Fidelity Bank, Stanchart Bank, and Data Bank Brokerage. That is unethical and that is unacceptable within the remit of the 1992 Constitution, in particular Article 284. And as I have rightly observed, a common denominator of corruption globally is conflict of interest. And a conflict of interest exists when an individual or corporation has the opportunity, real or perceived, to exploit their position for personal or corporate benefit. What would be the benefit to Data Bank Brokerage? Looking at its ownership and relationship with the finance minister, we think that some of these transactions must be above board.
The finance minister has stepped aside from his role at Data Bank.
Step aside as owner?
As director.
Role, just that, and that is enough to satisfy you. You see, it can be perceived, real or imagined. Couldn't he just do without Data Bank? Are there no financial institutions in Ghana, local and international, that could play that role? I do not think that he should be creating those impressions, and we find that very unacceptable.
Still live on JoyNews today. On a sad note now, she saw a man whose head had split and another woman screaming for help because she was stuck. That's the trauma a 10-year-old survivor of the Dumprase accident, which resulted in the death of 34 persons, went through. Although she escaped with minor injuries, her mother, father, and 8-month-old sister died in the accident. Her 7-year-old brother is unable to walk as he continues to receive treatment at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. In JoyNews' Arrive Alive campaign to stop the carnage on our roads, we bring you her story and how family members are struggling to break the news to her and her brother 2 weeks after their parents' demise.
10.
You're 10 years. Okay. What's your favorite subject?
Math.
Mathematics. Wow. Math is difficult.
The 10-year-old girl, Mommy, not her real name, sharing with me her dreams of becoming a lawyer. Last 2 weeks' deadly accident nearly truncated that aspiration. Her father, mother, and her 8-month-old sister all died in the accident. Her 8-year-old brother, who is unable to walk, is still receiving treatment at the hospital. The little girl has been narrating to me how she survived.
What do you want to become in future?
I want to become a lawyer.
You want to become a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. That's nice. Wow.
I saw that there were plenty of people shouting and many people too were hurt.
So you saw people who were hurt?
Yes.
In the bus? Okay. But you were sleeping there?
Yes. I saw people shouting for help.
Okay. So who did you see shouting for help?
A woman.
Which woman is that?
She was writing that one of her leg and her hands were stuck. I don't know the woman.
You don't know her?
I saw that there were chairs broken. I saw one man whose head was bashed.
Mommy's uncle says the 10-year-old girl saw her mother screaming for her and brother to be rescued from the mangled vehicle, but her mother died some hours later. Well, 2 weeks ago, 43-year-old Isaac Ansa Ewuku was traveling together with his family to Takrade when they were involved in that accident on the Cape Coast Dompoase Highway. He died. He died together with his 41-year-old wife, Martha Ninsen. An 8-month-old baby also died in the accident. 2 of his children he was traveling with survived. One of them is here at the accident and emergency center here at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Mommy's brother lies on a bed at the accident and emergency center of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital as his 8th birthday approaches this Sunday. I'm told his father had already started making preparations for the celebration, but now he's dead. The 8-year-old boy is unable to walk for now. He had to undergo surgery on Monday. Brother of the deceased, Michael Nyakon Asare, says the family is unable to break the news to the 2 surviving children.
They are very attached to their parents, very, very attached to their parents, because my brother I always talk to on phone and in person, and it's like he didn't have the best of educations and all that, so he's going to make sure he would go to heaven and earth to, you know, get his kids the best of educations, and he's very close to them. I've paid them a visit a few times, and you don't need anyone to tell you they are very attached to their parents, very, very attached to their parents. We haven't been able to break the news to them. It will be the job of a clinical psychologist to be able to take him through counseling and stuff. We will do our best, but then, you know, there are people who can do it better. So we haven't broken the news to them yet. No, we haven't. But we intend to do that before the burial of their parents. But then we will need the help of a clinical psychologist too. The girl was conscious. She wasn't unconscious, so she probably saw, because the other time we were trying to lie to her, you know, tell her a lie by telling her her parents are alive and they are just in a bad situation, just like Adom is. And they are in they are in an adult ward. So when she's fine and everybody's fine, they will see them. She told us point blank that I saw mommy. Mommy is not in coma.
Michael saw the remains of his brother, his wife, and their 8-month-old baby at the morgue.
It was very bad. Very, very bad. I mean, half of his head from the side, one eye, the cheek, and the scar was broken. You could, upon arriving at the mortuary, you can see his brains, you know. So no one could have survived that. A few broken bones, and then the wife too had, I think something went through her head. Something went through her head, and the baby was badly damaged. We would need a clinical psychologist to aid in, you know, I don't know the word to use, but to aid in letting them know what has happened, because they have to come to terms with it, whether we like it or yes.
10-year-old Mame and her brother continue to hope that they will be reunited with their mother, father, and 8-month-old sister, as they have been told by family members they are receiving treatment in another hospital. But the challenge now is how the family will break the unbearable news about the death of their parents and 8-month-old sister.
And even as we extend condolences to the families of these 34 persons who died, we implore that when you drive safely and carefully, just so we ensure that we all arrive alive. Coming up in business here on JoyNews today, EcoBank Ghana signs deal with AMA to green some areas in Accra as part of the bank's 30th anniversary celebration. Emmanuel Abwajebiafi joins us with those details.